From baffling bamboo to trailer tricks, we've seen punking from across the world on a whole new scale. But at number 1, punking goes into overdrive. Maastricht, Holland, where apparently cars park themselves.
Sweet car, but where's the driver?
We've seen driverless cars before, and they're normally packed with wires and electronics. But in this case, we can't see any controls, and it's doing donuts.
Created by Bjorn, he claims he's controlling this full-size muscle car using just an RC controller.
I just don't get how he's doing it. I can't see any motors or controls.
This looks really advanced.
I love this clip. I don't care if it's real or fake. Don't even tell me.
We went to Holland to find out if this car really is being controlled remotely.
I think it's real.
I'm not remotely convinced by this.
Tell us, Bjorn, is this really a remote-controlled car, or is this V8 a fake?
There are a lot of people that think that it's fake. It really isn't. It's an RC car with 404 horsepower. Is this crazy? Definitely.
This is epic.
Woohoo! This is rad!
Yeah, we think so too. But how is this Corvette controlled?
Bjorn had a dream of building a full-size remote control car. So he took his own sports car and modified it so it can be driven remotely and manually.
The difference between my RC car and other cars that are also RC controlled is that I built all the servos, all the motors inside the dashboard and on the controls, so that the interior looks completely stock.
I can't believe this guy's done it all by himself. It looks seamless.
Bjorn has a radio controller in his hands that sends radio waves to a receiver in the glove box. Those signals are decoded, and then they send various signals to all the components to control the car.
To steer the car back and forth, Bjorn sends a signal to the receiver, which drives a motor located under the dashboard. This other motor moves the steering wheel and therefore the tires.
Now, as you can see, this wheel turns the wheel. This control changes the gear.
So if Bjorn wants the car to accelerate, he sends that signal with his controller to the receiver. The receiver then talks to the motor, which then moves a lever that pushes the accelerator.
And of course, braking and throttle.
Due to the speed of the radio signals and the processor, there's virtually no delay. However, a full-size car will react a lot slower than a toy car equivalent because of its increased size and mass. With more mass, it means it has more inertia, and that means a greater resistance to a change in motion.
In contrast to how he would brake a small remote control car, he has to brake his Corvette a lot earlier.
Driving is pretty hard on a full-scale car. You gotta get a feel for the braking and not slamming it with your finger.
So in the end, Bjorn's biggest limitation is his own reaction time. But because of his epic driving skills, he's been able to pull this off.
It took me around 1 year for designing the universal motor controller. Then it took me around 3 months to make the first prototype, and it took another 3 months, so it's also safe to use. As an inventor, you comes a time that you really have to try it on the streets and see if it all works. The first test drive was pretty much terrifying, yeah.
So after a year and a half of masterful mechanics, Bjorn's baby is a full-grown beast.
Yes! This guy has to be #1. He's created a remote control sports car.
This has to be #1, because he's turned a passion for cars into an incredible invention.
This guy has to be #1 because he's pimped his ride and punked the public.
Well, thank you very much for making me #1. Whoa, 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 whoa. Hey, hey, wait for me! Wait.
Uh-oh. Well, as our Prince of Punk chases down his remote-controlled runaway, we're racing out of here. Until next time, on Outrageous Acts of Science.